There we go. Now we're live. Can you guys hear me? My gosh. I'm sitting there going, producer Brandon's got to remember to unmute me. And it's okay because it's only his second week. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? What I was saying was it definitely is a Monday, and that just proved it right there. Welcome to the show. I'm David Medina. We have so much to talk about. Eventually, we're going to hit like a consistent time to go live every day so that you guys know exactly when this live show starts. Appreciate those in the chat that said that there was no audio, but we have audio now. My gosh. I almost want to restart the stream. No, we'll keep going. Did you guys go to church? Did you guys go to church on yesterday? Did your pastor talk about Charlie Kirk? Did he mention it? And if you say, well, if it's a she, then yeah, we're just gonna just go to another church because you should not, like, women pastors should not be a thing. It says it clearly in the Bible. And if you think I'm misogynistic for that, I'm sorry. Charlie Kirk would want me to say the truth. There should not be lead women pastors. Men are to be pastors and to lead the church. If you're offended by that, tell me about it. Like, give me your side of it. I'm glad that you can hear me now. We're going to play that full video. I know a lot of you are here for that full video. So I went to this Oktoberfest this weekend on Saturday. And at Oktoberfest in Mount Angel, Oregon, the announcer at one of the events that was going on there said, like, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. People were cheering. And of course, two liberals next to me with the middle finger in the air were saying F Charlie Kirk. And I took video of me confronting this guy. And it shows just a little bit more. I'm going to show you just a little bit more of that. I'm going to show you the full video. And you guys have seen 95% of it. The last 5% I cut off because, I'm trying to set a good example here, but I'm coming full truth. I'm showing the full video today. Judge me all you want. I deserve it. I've already repented for it, but I lost my stuff. I lost it. You see someone there celebrating a father, husband, and someone like Charlie Kirk that allowed everybody to have a platform be killed. You see them celebrating that with their middle finger in the air, like laughing like it's some joke. And I just could not bite my tongue. I couldn't bite my tongue. Couldn't do it. So we're going to show you that full video in just a little bit. We're going to catch you up on the news for the day. And I want to hear from you guys, man. I want to hear from you guys in the chat. How are you guys feeling, man? I see you guys there. You guys are, I hope you guys are still feeling optimistic. I know that a lot of you, that video of Charlie Kirk being assassinated is continually playing in your head. It's playing in my head. And, that we weren't meant to see that. Like humans were not meant to see tragedy like that, especially so readily available, if you wanted to see bad stuff back in the days, even like as soon as the 90s and the early 2000s, I mean, you had to go to like certain like underground stores. You had to go to these certain stores. You had to, maybe if you're looking at bad stuff, you had to go find that at your friend's house, like underneath his dad's bed. You know what I mean? You didn't have it readily available on a phone like we do now. And I just don't think the human mind was meant to comprehend that video that we saw. And so, just be praying for the country, be praying for Charlie Kirk, continually praying. We don't just say that to say it. We like really be praying because there is power in prayer. And so, I'm glad you guys are here, man. I'm glad that we're going to get into some stuff here. I did want to show you guys some of the stuff, catch you up on what went on today in the news cycle. And so we had RFK Jr. I don't know if you guys saw this, man. This was like so amazing. This shows you the spiritual awakening that is happening in this country. And I know you guys are going to see all these videos. You guys have probably seen tons of videos of leftists celebrating this. And trust me, we are helping expose those people along with other accounts. We are exposing these people. People call it canceling and doxing. If I'm paying your salary as a taxpayer, you absolutely deserve to be outed. And a lot of you will say, well, don't stop there, David. Go, talk about business owners and all that kind of stuff. Hey, man, I'm not going to argue with you on that. I'm just not going to use my platform to do that with those guys because it does open up more liability for myself as well. So got to be careful. But we are going to expose educators and state workers and people, any kind of social worker that's funded by the government. We are going to expose it because their reactions are disgusting, has no place in this country, and we are fighting back. We are not letting it slide anymore. And when I show you the full video, when you go to judge me, just remember that, okay? Just remember everything, everybody kind of celebrating this whole thing. Keep that in the back of your mind. Doesn't excuse kind of the language that I used in that video, but hey, man, I'm sure most of you get it. This was RFK this morning, 17-year-old niece. This is so amazing. When I saw this, I got so emotional because, we talk about this. I'm going to show you this clip in just a second, but I want to talk about, as I'm thinking this, people were, I heard some people, in my inbox say, why I wish it was Trump over Charlie. I don't think that's the right attitude to have. That's kind of not, we shouldn't be thinking like that. But that did get me to think, why did God take Charlie and not Trump? If you guys remember the Butler assassination attempt on Donald Trump last year as he was campaigning, he turned his head at the very last second. Otherwise, we would have seen a very similar kind of scene that we saw with Charlie Kirk. And President Trump turned his head at the last second as the bullet grazed his ear. If you talk to CNN, or MSNBC, he apparently didn't get shot. But anyways, that's what happened. He turned his head, boom, ducked down. He is bleeding from the ear. Scary time for our country, right? Scary time for our country. But I want to tell you why I believe, and it's going to make sense, right? If Trump were to be taken out in Butler that day, I believe we would have, there would have been, like people upset, sad. We would have seen kind of a similar reaction. But I don't think you would have seen as many people say, I'm going to church for the first time. I don't think you would have seen as many people say, like the guy that came to our vigil. Thank you to all who came to the vigil on Friday in Tualatin. We're having another one. There's some Wilsonville Patriots in Wilsonville, Oregon, throwing another vigil. I will be there. I want all of the communities to come together for us to make this one last big vigil for Charlie here in Oregon. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to give more details. But I told, the guy at the vigil, he said, I drove 2 hours. I'm going to go full screen on me again so you guys don't, we will show this RFK thing. But this guy came to me at the vigil on Friday in Tualatin, Oregon, which is 10 minutes south of Portland if you're not from here. He said, I drove 2 hours. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what, there's something pulling me. I'm agnostic. And I don't, basically agnostic. They don't believe anything. They kind of just believe that this is it, basically. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in any kind of religion. Agnostic. So they don't believe anything. So he said, I'm agnostic. I've been agnostic, for the best part of my life. And I don't know what else to do. But something told me to come here today to this vigil and tell you this. And I don't know if it's God or whatever. I'm walking back to my truck with my friend that was with me, working security for me. And I just was like, you know what? I stopped and I said, brother, that's the Holy Spirit. That's the Holy Spirit that told you to come here. That is literally Jesus calling you to him through this tragedy. And I said, do you want to stop running and surrender right now and just make Jesus your Lord? And he said, yes. And we prayed for him. We laid hands on him and we prayed the sinner's prayer. And I said, brother, congratulations. You are now part of the kingdom of God. You're saved. And I kind of gave him next steps like, hey, get in a biblically sound church. I listed off some churches in the area for him that were biblically sound. I said, you're going to be in your Bible every day. I want you reading your Bible every day. I want you praying every day. And I told him, I said, as a new believer, as someone that is new to the kingdom, and I want you to tell this to other people that are being saved too. And I want you to remember this, that I go, brother, there's things in the Bible that I read today that I don't understand. Sometimes I read the Bible and I don't even know what I'm reading, but guess what? The Spirit still speaks to me through my time reading the Bible and spending time with God. I go, you're going to read things in the Bible and you're going to hear things in church and you're going to pray and not really know what you're doing or know what you're hearing. But I want you to understand that that's okay. And the Lord is going to slowly reveal himself to you and things will start making sense the more that you pursue God. And that's true for all of us, in your life and with your Christian walk, if you're a Christian especially, God reveals things to you more and more and more the more you seek him. It's almost like his word is like true. You seek me first, everything will fall into place after. Seek ye the kingdom of God first, and all these things will be added. I just thought that was a beautiful moment, and God is using this moment. So back to my point, why I felt like God, and I'm not saying God, for those that aren't Christians that don't understand what I'm saying, I'm not saying God killed Charlie Kirk. I'm saying he allowed it to happen, and this was part of his plan because we are seeing a spiritual awakening and people attending church like never before that I don't think we would have seen if Trump would have been assassinated. Okay? Our country was reawakened when Trump won the election in 24. When the left went super crazy with all this woke stuff and Kamala Harris and all that kind of stuff, I think that was kind of our country's, like our constitution's kind of reawakening, right? Charlie Kirk and his assassination was the turning point for America's spiritual healing and America's spiritual reawakening. And you literally saw it all over America this weekend. And I just think it's so beautiful, man. I think it's so beautiful. I think, I saw videos of gay people that were like, I'm gay and I didn't know if this church would accept me, but I just went anyways because I just felt like I was supposed to. And just because someone goes to church when they're gay or if they're in sin or if they're like whatever, doesn't mean they're going to get changed right there. They can, that definitely can happen. But it's just maybe like one of many steps of them continually coming back and God working on them and working on them and working on them. It is so amazing. It's so exciting right now to be a Christian and to be an American. It's such an exciting time to be a conservative. I know all the negative stuff that's going on out there. I know all the people that are celebrating his death. I get that, but those people are just exposing themselves. The devil overplayed his hand with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. He absolutely overplayed his hand. Because now you're seeing, now the people in the middle that were apolitical, that didn't speak up about politics, that didn't speak up about faith, that kind of just sat in the middle and just wants to get along with everybody, they're seeing there is no middle. There is good and evil. There is good and evil. That separation was made clear last week. And it's continuing to make itself clear with every person that comes out and celebrates this. When you see one of those videos of someone celebrating, like those white liberal women that are smiling, and you just look into their eyes and you're like, man, if I could just reach through that screen, right? Be excited when you see those videos because they are exposing themselves to people in the middle and the people on the fence that actually have common sense, but really just kind of stayed away from things in the name of not being controversial. I see you in the chat. Keep blowing up the chat. Share this live. You're on YouTube, X, Facebook. I don't know why Instagram's not picking up the live, but I also heard that the Canby Vigil, I see you in there. The Canby Vigil was like a, hold on, let me pull that up. Let me go pull that up because I can't see it on the little screen. The Canby Vigil, this Only Mr. Bill Says on YouTube, was like a church service. Yeah, I saw videos of that. Maybe we can pull that up too. I had someone send me video of the Charlie Kirk vigil in Canby, Oregon, and it looked amazing. It looked just as amazing as the one in Tualatin. So maybe we can show video from that. There's one in Sisters, I think on Tuesday. We'll find out. We'll post for you. Okay. Thank you for being with me, Mr. Bill. Rachel Press says on Facebook, yes, evil is here. We need to fight evil 100%. And we are fighting evil. I want to show you guys some really cool things. This is what RFK said this morning. This was at like an event for Charlie in DC. And this is what he said about, and this is that spiritual awakening I'm telling you about.
18-year-old niece left for Europe to go to college. And while she was packing, her mother, Amaryllis, my daughter-in-law, noticed that she had put a Bible in her suitcase. And Amaryllis was curious about it. And she asked her, and Zoe said to her, I want to live like Charlie Kirk.
I want you guys to be careful of black pillars out there. The people that have a pessimistic view of everything, they're negative about everything. If those people are in your life, get them out. I mean, you have to get them out. Pray for them. Tell them that you're praying for them. Maybe call them out for being so negative. But people are already dissecting this and saying, well, why wouldn't she say she's want to live for God or live like Jesus? Why did she say Charlie Kirk? Are we idolizing? I'm like, dude, ladies and gentlemen, guys, we got to stop. We got to stop like being so negative and finding like negative viewpoints on everything, right? That is so beautiful that she picked up her Bible and that Charlie Kirk led her to do that. Because guess what? When she starts reading that Bible and opening the Bible, God's going to reveal himself. You got to trust God, that God uses people for his kingdom to draw people closer to him. This is a beautiful thing. This is not something to blackpill. Okay. Amazing. I don't know if you guys saw President or Vice President J.D. Vance took over the Charlie Kirk show today. He hosted it for 2.5 hours. Said some amazing things. This was kind of like the original kind of opening. opening kind of line. I'm going to tell you right now, from what I saw from the Charlie Kirk show, I'm saying it right now, JD Vance for president 2028. I mean, who else can come in and be bold and say bold things like him? I mean, look, you got to see what he said about like the people that are celebrating Charlie Kirk's evil. He's like, you can't find unity with these people, these kind of people. You can't find unity who scream at your kids because of their parents' politics. I loved that, man. I love it. And of course, the fake news is going to spin it like, oh, he just basically called, he called for separation. He's being divisive, and we should be calling for unity. You're going to see that on CNN tonight, I guarantee it, if you haven't already. But here's the VP.
Hey, everybody. JD Vance here, live from my office in the White House complex, and filling in for somebody who cannot be filled in for, but I'm going to try to do my best. My dear friend, the great Charlie Kirk. The last several days have been extremely hard for our country. They've been hard for me, hard for my family, hard for the countless people in this building who knew and loved Charlie Kirk. And of course, they've been hardest most of all for his darling wife, Erica, and their two beautiful children. The thing is, every single person in this building, we owe something to Charlie. He was a joyful warrior for our country. He loved America. He devoted himself tirelessly to making our country a better place. He was a critical part of getting Donald Trump elected as president, getting me elected as vice president. And so much of our success over the last 7 months is due to his efforts, his staffing, his support, and his friendship.
I love this clip right here from Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary.
Radio host. Hello, everyone.
My producer just was like, wait a minute, I'm older than Caroline Leavitt. I couldn't believe it either. She's like, what, 28? Oh, my gosh.
Vice President JD Vance here. Welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. So I am moonlighting as a radio host today, of course, in honor of my dear friend Charlie. And, I wanted to be like Marco Rubio. I wanted to add an extra job here as the radio host and vice president here in the West Wing, here in the White House complex. But I have another person here who wears many hats and is one of the most gifted communicators I've ever seen, right up there with the great Charlie Kirk. I'm glad to be joined by Caroline Leavitt, our press secretary. Caroline, so good to see you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Very kind. I appreciate your saying that.
So why don't you kick it off and tell us a little bit? So those who don't know,
I'd love to play this whole clip, but she basically says that Charlie was so outspoken with his faith, and I will continue to be outspoken in honor of him. So many people saying that. I love what JD Vance said here. He absolutely called out these people that have been spreading this rhetoric. And it's what we've been saying is like people, all of this violent rhetoric coming from the left. We've seen it on publications. We've seen it on online. You got the black guy at Oxford that just won the presidency in Oxford that literally was saying that, cancers need to be taken out no matter what, basically saying the right needs to be eradicated by all means necessary. And this is what JD Vance had to say about the left, encouraging violence.
In a country of 330 million people, you can, of course, find one person of a given political persuasion justifying this or that or almost anything. But the data is clear. People on the left are much likelier to defend and celebrate political violence. This is not a both sides problem. If both sides have a problem, one side has a much bigger and more malignant problem, and that is the truth we must be told. That problem has terrible consequences. The leader of our party, Donald J. Trump, escaped an assassin's bullet by less than an inch. Our House Majority Leader, Stephen Scalise, came within seconds of death by an assassin himself. And now, the most influential conservative activist in generations, our friend Charlie, has been murdered. This violence, it doesn't come from nowhere. Now, any political movement, violent or not violent, is a collection of forces. It's like a pyramid that stacks on top, one support on top of the other. That pyramid's got a foundation of donors, of activists, of journalists, now of social media influencers, and of course of politicians. Not every member of that pyramid would commit a murder. In fact, over 99%, I'm sure, would not. But by celebrating that murder, apologizing for it, and emphasizing not Charlie's innocence, but the fact that he said things some didn't like, even to the point of lying about what he actually said, many of these people are creating an environment where things like this are inevitably going to happen.
And they're going to continue to happen, folks. If we continue to let it slide, I'm sorry, but Antifa should have been designated as a terrorist organization this morning. It should have been one of the first things on the president's agenda to do. I don't know how that hasn't happened yet. These people are violent. They're the same people that burned down Portland to the ground, and ruined the reputation of Portland. And some of their comrades still run the city right now, the city council. They're the same people that are still attacking ICE agents in front of the Portland ICE building, and across in Seattle too, and in LA, and across the nation. But this right here is why I love JD Vance so much. And I wasn't a big believer in him when Trump picked him for VP. I was one of those people that was like, I don't know, I don't trust him, because he used to be an anti-Trumper. But his explanation was like, the media lied to me, and the more research I did, the more I was sold on Donald Trump. But him hosting what he said during hosting this show for Charlie Kirk, stepping in for Charlie Kirk, this sold me on him to be the next president. He is not sitting in the middle. He is not just kind of making general statements of tragedy and all that kind of stuff. He is calling it out for what it is. There's only one side of the political aisle that violence is continually coming out of. That's the left. And the Democrat Party, instead of like coming out and condemning these acts, all they do is they go to their political talking points. It's freaking disgusting. It's just as disgusting when when you have Elizabeth Warren that comes out and they interview her and they go, oh, well, why don't you tell the president just to tone down the rhetoric? Or other Democrats that say, well, I hope Republicans can get serious about gun control now. Like, are you kidding me? How disgusting of a human being do you have to be that Charlie Kirk gets assassinated by now we know, shooter who was in a relationship with a transgender, a man that was pretending to be a woman, or that was transitioning to be a self-identified woman? How disgusting is it that your first talking point is gun control? Well, I hope the right gets serious about gun control now. Just as disgusting as all these other people celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. I'm telling you, these people have not changed. The Democrat Party still stands on what they believe in. I had a person from the Portland, so I'll keep him anonymous, but this is why I don't support the Portland Timbers. And I know a lot of you go to Portland Timber games because it's fun and everybody's cheering and it's a cool environment, and I get that. But like, Antifa literally is their Timbers army. If you don't believe me, I'm going to show you something real quick. They have fascist symbols. Fascist symbols that are shown at the Timbers games. And I know this. Let's see if we can pull this up. I don't know if that was on email. I think it was on email. Hold on one sec. Let me pull it up because I'm going to show you guys. I'm not blowing smoke. I don't just say things to blow smoke, okay? Let's see if we can find it here. The sisters. Okay. Let's see. Trying to find it here. It was a guy that he works for a security company that gets contracted by the Timbers. And he showed me a picture of fascist symbols. And when people complained about it, they basically said, well, just deal with it. They still fly fascist symbols at Timbers games. It's so sad, man. I can't find it. We should have been prepared on that. Yeah, if I find it, I'll send it to you guys, or I'll post it. But anyways, my point is these people are the same. They're the same. And the ones that have changed, you know they changed because they said, wow, this is too far, and I don't stand with this. Here's some good news. Major update. Turning Point USA has now received 37,000 applications to start new chapters nationwide. They have awoken a sleeping giant. That is so true. That is so true because I don't even think they could have reached that number in the next 5 years, and they did it within literally a week. So although Charlie's gone, what he built is like literally on steroids right now. And I'm going to do everything I can in the Northwest to make sure that Turning Point continues to live on and is successful. Switching gears a little bit, we have a little bit of an update on the assassin, Tyler Robinson. I don't even want to see his ugly face, but it's now being reported that Charlie Kirk's assassin, Tyler Robinson, confessed in his Discord chat to the crime. Quote saying, "Hey guys, I have bad news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all this. I'm surrendering through a sheriff friend in a few moments. Thanks for all the good times and laughs per WAPO." So Washington Post is reporting this, okay? And then Discord has come out and said, actually, like there's no evidence that there was any kind of this stuff going on. I'm just going to say right now, I 100% agree with the reports that there are more than one person involved in this. This guy had help planning. This guy had help strategizing. This guy had help. He had a lot of help. And we need to bring every single one of those people to justice. And if it were up to me, they'd be in the firing squad with him. I know that sounds extreme, but we're in extreme times. And there has to be justice. And if you think that's too extreme, go watch the Charlie Kirk video again. I'm sorry. Like, I'm trying to make it a positive show, but go watch the Charlie Kirk video. If you think that's too extreme, and then come back to me, tell me if that's too extreme. And then Tyler Robinson, speaking of the killer, he is now one step closer to swift execution after reports say he confessed his guilt. The chair is waiting, says Eric Daughtry, get him in there. I don't know, man. I say firing squad. I love this from Representative Anna Paulina Luna, and I will be pulling up that full video soon. You guys didn't miss it if you're just joining us. I will be pulling up the full video of me confronting that guy and using choice language, and then I'm going to fill you in what happened after, because I almost got kicked out by security. But then I grounded myself and I took myself home. Here's what Anna Paulina Luna said today. I love this.
Common logical, and one by one, no matter how controversial the question was, he would dismantle them with his reasoning. And that's when I realized something. Charlie Kirk didn't need college. College needed Charlie Kirk.
That needs to be a t-shirt. Maybe we should make that into a t-shirt, Brandon. Maybe we need to make that into a t-shirt and raise money for the local TPUSA people. I think we might. I think we actually might. College. Charlie Kirk didn't need college. College needed Charlie Kirk. That is so good. So again, I mean, let me know, like in the chat, did you guys go to church? I want to know if your church spoke out. So I've gotten so many messages of people saying my church did not do enough. I've gotten so many messages of people that are disgusted by their church not even mentioning Charlie Kirk. And I have received a few messages from people from the Rose Church or Rose City Church in Portland, PDX. And I got this message. I'm going to read it to you real quick. I got this message just a little bit ago, one of the latest messages that I got from someone at Rose Church that said, put it on my stories. Give me a sec. You could just tell we're so prepared. The audio was not coming in at the beginning. I mean, what are we doing? This guy said, I went to the Rose Church in Portland, first time in years since I was a kid to go back to church. It helped me some, but it didn't fill my heart. I have heard that from so many people. I went to church. I felt left feeling empty. And a lot of those people said that they went to another church, that they went to another service. That's how empty they felt. But he says there was no mention of Charlie. And I said, this saddens my heart. And then someone, of course, came into my DMs and he said this. He said, sorry, and this is the problem. Christians, listen to me. Because I'm going to dissect this, because there are some people out there that are saying, sorry, man, but this shouldn't sadden your heart. You expect a sermon series about Charlie? No. The church is about praying for these things, but preaching Christ. This is going to divide the church and not for the best. Church isn't about Charlie. It's about the gospel message. I go, dude, probably the biggest L take of the day, but I still love you. My gosh, dude, you got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. And I want to say something. When I would talk to pastors before the Charlie Kirk incident, I always said, yeah, you should only get political if it's a biblical issue. If you talk about abortion, that's a biblical issue that should be talked about in the church. The Second Amendment, probably not so much. Even though we are all supporters of the Second Amendment and that's our God-given right, It should not be, that's more of a political issue. Maybe shouldn't be discussed as much. Pastors shouldn't be going and preaching wearing MAGA hats or Trump t-shirts, okay? Because he is right that church is about the gospel. It's about bringing people to Jesus. I've always said that. However, what you're implying here, Jonathan, the guy that sent this, is that Charlie's assassination was purely for political reasons. And that's not true. Everything that Charlie was about his faith and about his faith in Christ and about standing up for biblical values and standing against worldly values that are contradictory to the Bible, like transgenderism. God created man and woman. He created two genders. Charlie stood for God's design for the world and for humanity. And for that, he was killed. That is a biblical issue. Charlie was killed for his faith. And if for you to say that the pastors should not be talking about that, I hope that you are not a pastor or that you work on a church, brother, because number one, how can you not see what God is doing with Charlie's assassination? How can you not see the new people coming to church? I'm not saying pastors should get up there and start telling people to vote Republican. That's not what I'm saying. But mentioning Charlie and what he stood for and why he died and how this secular evil world views Christians right now needs to be talked about. They are still calling for our eraser, for us to be censored and taken out like Charlie. They're still calling for that. If you think they're calling for that because of our political leanings, you are so misguided, my friend. Well, he responded and said, "Love you too, man, but it's the truth. My pastor prayed for his family and the atrocities of the world and moved on. That's what church is. If church is going to become politicized, I promise, I'm not asking for church to be politicized. Only Jesus can save, not a movement based off emotions." 100% agree with you on that last part. Only Jesus can save. But when a man that was, the number one thing that he did was talk about his faith. Yes, he talked about voting for Trump and he got people to vote, and that was part of what he did, but that is not who he was. Charlie Kirk was a man of faith who stood for Christian principles, stood for the Bible, stood for God's kingdom, and treated people that way. That Charlie Kirk was the best example of what being a Christian means. Who cares if he talked about politics? That doesn't disqualify him from being a man of God and being talked about at church. That doesn't disqualify him just because he was political. Biggest L take of the day, but Jonathan, I still love you. And no, it wasn't producer Jonathan. Let's read what some of you guys said in the chat. I love to see it. You guys, I love that you guys are here. Thank you for joining me. Danielle Scroth from Facebook says, Charlie was a prophet and he brought so many people to Jesus Christ, including my son, who was struggling with his beliefs until he started watching Charlie. It helped him understand in a way I couldn't. Beautiful. I love that. I love that. It makes me really emotional because, when you have young people, whenever I see somebody or if I find out myself that I've affected a young person, that is so beautiful because young people are pulled in so many ways. And parents, it's harder to be a parent today than it ever has been in the history of our time because now parents are not just fighting back in the day like they were just fighting bad influences at school or friends. Now they're fighting bad influences at school. They're fighting culture. They're fighting social media. They're fighting every 3 dozen ways that the world is trying to pull at their kid. And so when I see a kid that breaks through and that is being influenced by someone like Charlie Kirk, it is so powerful. And that just shows you that what he stood for and what Charlie did, is so amazing. He deserves to be honored. Elizabeth Bowen on Facebook says, what do you take from Charlie speaking about the Israel government wanting to ethnically cleanse the Gaza Strip just a couple weeks before all this? Elizabeth, I did touch on this the last live on Friday. I did say it was weird. If you know me, and like I said, I am pro-Israel. I believe Israel has a right to defend itself. I believe Israel has a right to its land, its God-given land. I believe that, the fact that people think that Israel should not have a right to their land is so insane to me. We can get into all that. We can go into all that at another time. But I also don't believe that Israel is perfect, and I believe that they should be held accountable for mistakes that they make. I don't think that we should just be praising Israel all the time. When they're wrong, we need to call it out. I don't like that kids are dying in Gaza, but I also don't like that Hamas is hiding behind those kids most of the time, which is why a lot of those kids get killed and a lot of innocent people get killed, is because these Hamas cowards hide behind them, and they hide in their buildings, and they hide in schools and hospitals. They literally use them as human shields. But I did think that was interesting, Elizabeth, that Charlie was really starting to speak out against Israel, like not speak out against them, but just like start asking questions, holding them a little bit accountable. I did find that really interesting. So yeah, I touched on that on Friday. Let's see here. Let's see. A lot of you on Facebook. I love you guys so much, man. Thank you for joining me today. Bab says you are doing the Lord's work on Facebook. Appreciate that so much. God bless you. Hanging in there. Thank you, David. Said Christopher Daniel on Facebook. God bless you, Christopher. YouTube. Yeah, people are saying I can't hear anything. So sorry about that. We had some audio issues because producer Brandon. I'm throwing him under the bus. Okay, he forgot to unmute me. That's okay. It's only his second week, but he's killing it. He's killing it. I couldn't even get mad at him because he's been doing such amazing work helping me out. I don't know where I would be if it weren't for producer Brandon last week when all this stuff was going on. So is it Syra Romero says, yes, they said his name and prayed for his family. My church. So I try out different churches. My home church is Athey Creek in Westland, Athey Creek Christian Fellowship. They don't call it that anymore. Now it's called Athey Church. I just remembered that. They call it Athey Church. That's kind of my base church, but I also go to People's Church in Salem. I shared a clip on my social media from what the pastor said on that. That was so powerful. Yeah, I'm gonna, can we pull up that? Did we put that in Telegram? The clip of me confronting the dude. All right. Story time. Hold on one sec. We got to find a way to get this over to, maybe I'll send it to you on X. I'm going to show the full video. So I kind of got into a confrontation on Saturday at Oktoberfest in Mount Angel, Oregon, with a guy that was, if you guys follow me on Instagram or Facebook, a guy had his middle finger in the air saying F Charlie Kirk at an event inside an event center when the PA announcer said, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Everybody was cheering, and this idiot decided to curse Charlie Kirk, and I just wasn't having it, to say the least. And so I'm going to show you the full video like I promised, and I'm also going to give you more context on what happened after that video. I'm not proud of it. It was a sinful moment for me. But hey, I'm always going to keep it real with you guys, man. I'm not going to just come on here and pretend like I'm some perfect Christian. I'm definitely not, and I definitely let the emotions get the best of me. But I'm sure most of you can understand. Let me get this going for you guys real quick. Let me save this. Boom. Let's go on. Where should we put this? Where we can see it? Let me get rid of JD Vance real quick. Not my best moment. Let's see if we can go here. Yeah, I think we'll be able to. It says it's too large. What? Doesn't make sense. Yeah, I could. Hold on, guys. Let me build a scene. Bear with me real quick. I'm gonna build a scene. That's gonna show like the display. Okay, so I'm gonna build this scene out real quick, and I'm gonna show you that video. Let me try to add. Actually, no. What am I doing? I can just add it to the other thing. Hold on. Let's go back to the other one. All right, I'm gonna add this video into like right onto the scene, and we're gonna watch it together. And you guys can judge me all you want. I deserve it. Why isn't it coming up, man? You guys are probably like, this guy's totally capping right now. Why is this not coming up? Is it not saving as the right file? My gosh. It's just like full of technical difficulties. Why is it a VLC? It's saving as an image. That is weird. Okay, so let's go back to my last idea, which is to make a new scene and put the display on there. So give me a second. My gosh, dude. All right. Or I can just share screen, right? This is driving me nuts. I don't know what to do, man. Why is this not? Can I send it to you on Brandon? Yeah. Official Brandon, right? Let me see if I can send it here and then show them. Dude, I might actually flip out here live. Why is it pulling up like that? Okay, you know what? We're going to skip it. And I'm going to just post it with context. I'm going to make it a post online and show you guys. But man, this has just been such a smooth live. I love it. All right. Anyways, we're going to show you at a later date. We're going to jump off here because I'm going to go make that video for you guys. I know I promised you I don't know why it's not pulling up, but basically I'm just going to tell you the story. I said, basically, do you realize, what did I say? I don't remember what I said. Hold on. Maybe we'll just play it right here. We'll just play it right here. You'll hear what I say. I'm really not trying to skirt accountability right now. Okay, folks. Okay, here it was. You hear him saying F Charlie Kirk?
Hey, did it ever occur to you that you might be a piece of shit for saying that? No, it really.
Okay, so that was it. I said you're a POS, and he basically his white liberal girlfriend got in my face and said, why are you standing up for a misogynist, someone that hated women? The same narrative that every one of them says, and I just got into it. I got upset, and I just said, I think I might have said, let's step outside or something. I don't know. I said something non-Christian. It was not my best moment. And I said, you are a piece of whatever. And security came, tried to kick me out. Other people around me were patting me on the back and saying, no, they need to go. They're the ones that were celebrating this. He's just doing what he's not in the wrong. And it was so, yeah, I said, I called the girl a name and I just said, so anyways, a friend of mine said, hey man, wouldn't it be better if you would have just prayed, asked him to pray or something, or try to bring them to Jesus? And he's right. I probably should have just been calmly talked to him, but it was loud in there. And the guy was being so loud about it. And has the middle finger up saying F Charlie Kirk. And I just lost it, man, because that's just, to have that happen right in front of you. It's just crazy. Anyways, lesson learned. I repented. I took myself home. I was only there for like an hour. I drove an hour, planned to be there for 3 or 4 hours with some friends. And I was only there for an hour and I took myself home because I wasn't proud of that moment. But maybe it needed to be done. I don't know. But if you guys know that guy, man, make him famous. I put it all over my story. If you guys know him, make him famous because that's not okay for him to be doing that. I just don't. These people have no heart, man. It's so sad. It's literally so sad. And man, I want to finish this live real quick. And this show will get better. The production will get better. The entertainment value will get better. We're just kind of still dipping our toe, testing out this new system that we have. And, we got the new producer. We're still training him. So this thing will get better. And I appreciate you guys being here and sharing it. I will post that full clip on my story, Instagram story in a little bit here so you can see it. So anyways, I want to end this clip this live on what your pastor should have sounded like. And I post this on my page. If a lot of you maybe didn't see it. And for some reason it's not. Let's go here. Boom. All right. This has gone crazy viral. I love that this is going viral. This church, if you guys are in the Salem area, People's Church, it's up to, what is it up to now? Almost 1 million views. It's literally 500 views away from getting to 1 million views. I said every second of this 7-minute clip from this church in Oregon is worth listening to. If your pastor doesn't sound like this today, or he danced around the subject of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, it's time to find a new pastor who will boldly stand like Pastor Tom at People's Church. And again, not being political. I'm not saying pastors need to get political, but you needed to mention Charlie Kirk. You needed to mention Charlie Kirk this weekend.
car, got a text message. In one of those little spots of cell phone coverage, one of our staff pastors who was riding with me in my car got a text message that Charlie Kirk had been shot. And that's all we knew, because then we went back into no cell phone area. What's happened? Some of you started to get those news notifications. Someone told you to flip on the TV to watch what was happening, and just absolute stun and shock. We pulled into the parking lot to come back from that direction. We came through Staten, and we planned to stop in Staten, check on what was happening with the renovations there. And as we're stopped there is when we got the word that Charlie Kirk had died. And this is one of those moments that a lot of us will remember for the rest of our life. We'll remember where we were when we got this news that a voice for the Christian faith and a voice for conservative values had been assassinated. We've heard words associated with our country that we're not used to hearing associated with our country. Words like assassination and martyr. A martyr is a person who is killed because of their religious or other beliefs. Psalm 37, verse 32 says this: "The wicked watches for the righteous and seeks to put him to death." It both stuns us, but those of us who know our word are also not surprised that there are people who will stand up for their faith and will experience the worst that the enemy can throw. And here we are today, a young husband and father killed because he consistently and boldly spoke about his convictions surrounding faith and politics. So I believe what we can do today to honor this voice is by hearing from Charlie Kirk himself. And I want you to listen to a couple of these clips.
How do you want to be remembered? Mindset of focus on whatever your routine. I want you to.
I love what he said right here.
It's possible that maybe you've been on the outside. Maybe before this week you'd heard the name Charlie Kirk and seen a video clip or two, but maybe you're surprised at just how massive the reaction has been, and it's left you wondering why. There are influencers and there are politicians and there are educators who are advancing gender confusion, broaden access to end life in the room as it's convenient, anything goes, no absolute right and wrong, and people who would have us believe that all young adults are bought into this woke ideology. But here's the thing, young adults are deciding that all those voices don't speak for me. And what they have found is that through Charlie Kirk and others, young people are connecting with the belief that society is better when families are stronger. Life in the womb is worth protecting. Hard work is good. Sin is destructive, and we need men to rise up to responsibility.
Love it. That is how your pastor should have addressed this and what's going on in this country and what happened to Charlie Kirk. Because I'm going to tell you right now, folks, it's not going to stop. There's going to be more stuff like this happening because these people that are supporting this killing of Charlie Kirk, this assassination of Charlie Kirk, they truly believe that we are a big threat to them and their lifestyle. I mean, I think most of them are possessed, and it's just demon possession, evil. But there are a lot of people in this country still, a lot of people that are products of years of indoctrination in the colleges and universities, years of indoctrination through the media, brainwashing, that truly believe Charlie Kirk's death has made America a better country. We need men to rise up. We need men to rise up. We need pastors to rise up. It really made me sad that, so many people that told me that they felt empty. My friend Clayton Kearns in San Diego made a video. Just felt so empty. Guy didn't even mention the assassination. A lot of these churches, one of the things I heard from the Rose Church in Portland, the Rose Church PDX, They sure had a lot to say about BLM and George Floyd. Nothing about Charlie Kirk. That's a church that has lost its way, if it even had it in the first place. And, you know, I go look on the Rose Church PDX. I go look on their website. I go look, and literally women pastors, right? And I knew right away. I was like, well, I don't even have to look any further. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that offends you. The Bible is clear about who's to lead the church, and it's men. That doesn't mean women are less. Doesn't mean women are less important or that we are better than women. It just means that men and women complement each other. Women are better at things than men are. Men are better than things than women are. We are not meant to be just one people where we all do the same thing. That's why the WNBA doesn't work. Sorry. But if you're a church and you have so much to say about George Floyd and BLM because you're trying to appease everybody, listen, there is good versus evil. There is no middle ground. When you're trying to appease everybody, you're siding with evil. Because how can you call evil things out? Joel Osteen, how can you, and I like Joel Osteen for encouragement, but that's it. I don't go to him for doctrine or for anything else. And I don't even know why I go to him for that. But if you're going to be a church that's not going to call out actual evil going on because you're too afraid to offend, you've already sided with evil. So disgusting. Like, you had so much to say, Rose Church, about BLM and George Floyd, when in fact George Floyd died of an overdose. And there was no hard evidence that that officer had racism in his bones or on his mind when he supposedly killed him. But that's the narrative we ran with. And everybody's going to, all these churches like Rose City PDX and all these white liberals online virtue signaling that we need to be a better country. But you were silent about Charlie Kirk. It's not a church. That's not a church. That's a motivational group with the motivational speakers. You're not a church, and you don't have, and there's no pastors. You are a motivational. You're no better than like a group that gets together to talk about Friends, to talk about the show Friends, and how Chandler is like their best character. Like, you're literally no better than just motivational groups that are like just community groups with a head motivational speaker at the helm. It's time to get bold. It's time to start standing up. I'm really sorry, by the way, about that video, not having that video. I will post it. Go follow me at Dave Medina PDX on Instagram and Facebook. I've given up on TikTok, I think. I don't even think we're going to bother with it. We have 50,000 followers on TikTok, and none of it gets reach. None of our videos get reach. Even our videos that have gotten millions of views other places, they're still censoring. TikTok is still censoring conservatives and Christians, and I'm not going to give them my time anymore. I just can't. But it's time to be bold. It's time to stand up. Find a good, sound church. I actually might put together on my website a list of churches that I recommend all over the state of Oregon. I know many of you have reached out and asked, where's a good church? If you're in the Salem area, People's Church. There's People's Church. I know that in my area, Portland area, Athey Creek, there's an Athey Creek campus in McMinnville. There's an Athey Creek campus in Hillsboro. Rolling Hills in Tualatin I think it's Tualatin is okay. I mean, in my experience, they've been okay. I'm really interested to see how they respond to this whole Charlie Kirk thing. A lot of great churches around that I've heard people say that my pastor, they did amazing. They said amazing things about Charlie Kirk. So maybe we'll make a list of churches that we recommend. But appreciate you guys being here with me today. Sorry for all the technical difficulties. We will button it all up. We will be better prepared next time. It's also worth mentioning that I don't eat on Mondays. No, it's not a Muslim thing. I'm not Muslim. I'm Christian. Okay. I'm not some weird sect of religion. It's a health thing. It's kind of like my cleansing day to kind of cleanse out all the garbage that I ate over the weekend. Anyways, it's been working. Because then when I have my cup of coffee and my food tomorrow, to start the day, it literally tastes like candy. But yeah, it sets me up for clean eating for the week. I love it. So little bit rough today, but I'm glad that you were here, and I hope that you're doing okay, and I hope that you're keeping your head up, and I hope that you are understanding what is happening in this country. And I hope that you understand what God is doing and see what God is doing, and how many new people that are going to church that never would have gone to church in a million years, but are being pulled to church because they just feel something pulling them there. This guy says, look up Pastor John Anuski. This man was the best tribute to Charlie Kirk's. Maybe you've seen already. Gave me chills. Matt Demo said on Facebook. And on YouTube, Cyrus said, eye for an eye again. And Dale Scroggins on Facebook says, for those that eyes to see and those that have ears to hear, may Jesus Christ bless you all. Let's leave it on that. I love that. God bless you all. Thank you for joining me today. And make sure you follow me across all social media. If you guys want to help, I am going to be at the funeral for Charlie Kirk this weekend. We're not going to have a live show tomorrow, by the way, but I will be at the funeral this weekend, and we are raising money for me and my daughter to go, so that we can get you great content, and we can be there and kind of represent kind of us, the Medina Army. Just asking to cover flights and hotel. The flights alone are going to be over $1,000. We're asking to raise $1,500. There's been 28 individual donations that have come in since last night when I posted the video, asking you guys to rally around this. And I really appreciate that. Such a blessing. You guys have been so great. One of the things I said that I'm going to do, there's going to be a vigil in Wilsonville on Friday, Wilsonville, Oregon, at Wilsonville. I think it's Town Square or something like that. I'm calling for all of the vigils that have happened in Oregon, for all of them to come together, everybody to drive in and have this be one big last vigil before Charlie Kirk's funeral. And what I'm going to do is if you want to write a letter, one-page letter to the Kirk family and or to the TPUSA staff, I'm going to hand deliver. You can bring me your letters on Friday. You don't have to donate to the travel fund to do this, but if you bring your one-page letter to me, I will hand deliver them to the memorial in front of the TPUSA headquarters. And I'll even go even further and try to deliver them to someone within Turning Point. Maybe they'll get to Erica Kirk. I don't know. But I'm going to do my best. And I will hand deliver that for you. If you guys want to write letters to the Kirk family, letters of prayer, good thoughts. And I'm going to read. We'll have to read every one of them, just so that there's not one that slips in that's like hateful or whatever that will make them feel bad. I know you guys wouldn't do that, but you never know. There might be a bad actor that shows up that's hearing this, and that will show up on Friday just to hand maybe like a threatening letter. We don't want any of that. So anyways, like and subscribe to the YouTube. Follow me at Dave Medina PDX across all social media. It's been an honor being with you today. We're going to keep doing this live show as much as we can, in addition to our videos that we put out. A lot of people, there'll be a new batch tonight of people in Oregon, Washington, and in other places, of people that have celebrated Charlie Kirk. In fact, let me show you real quick what that looks like. So last night I started a web page. I added a page to the web page that basically it's called Hold Them Accountable. And this will be a collection of taxpayer-funded workers in Oregon and other blue states who publicly celebrated, mocked, or justified the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Charlie was not oppressing people, calling for violence, or taught hate. He was a father, husband, friend, and so much more. Charlie simply stood for Christian conservative beliefs, and for that he was killed. This is not a call to violence or to make any threats against these individuals. We're simply holding them accountable. We pay their salaries. We deserve to know who they are. Feel free to share on social media and call their employers to file a complaint. We're done letting this slide. Information. You can be removed from this list. If you get on this list, you can't be removed from it only if the offender submits an apology video to davemedinapdx@gmail.com with the subject line, "I'm sorry for being an idiot." So there you go. Like and subscribe, guys. Love you guys so much. Keep your heads up. Thank you for following and supporting me. We're going to keep standing bold on truth. We're going to Portland State this week. Be on the lookout. We're going to Portland State with Signs for Charlie, with our cameras, with our mics. And the goal is to have good conversations. And if confrontations happen out of it, then so be it. But we are going to Portland State to stand for Charlie. We're not afraid. We never will be afraid. You shouldn't be either. Put your trust in God. We'll see you next time. God bless.